So we've got a few videos on how to reduce the cost of your private pilot license and how to save money, but no one ever talks about the ways to increase the cost of your private pilot license. Okay, so I guess that's the name of this video. So let's make it rain, you know, money from your wallet. One of the biggest reasons that student pilots quit learning to fly is cost, and it's no surprise that learning to fly can cost a good chunk of change. But there are a lot of things that you can do to make it cost even more, and we're not even going to get into all of them today. So let's dig into 10 things that you can do, or actually may have already done, to make it more expensive. Training at busy airports. So I trained out of Deer Valley Airport in Phoenix, Arizona, and despite being a great place to learn to fly, it's also the busiest general aviation airport in the United States. So when you go to take off, it may be a while, because you'll be stuck in a lineup that looks like this. And when you're paying by the hour, sitting on the ground burning up time can put you in a bad mood, which then makes your lesson less effective, so you need more training, which means more money. Changing instructors. Finding the right CFI can be hard. Switching can be even harder, especially if you're midway through your training. Realize that if you just need a change, or if your CFI is moving on to something else, you're going to be stuck redoing some training and some flights. The new CFI has to size you up to figure out where you're at, and that takes time and money. Oh, and this is true for both private instruction and flying out of flight schools. Speaking of which, changing schools. Let's say you're at a flight school and want to switch to another one, join your buddy or something. Well, just like switching CFIs, and technically you still are, switching flight schools can cost you even more money. You have to redo some training and flight so that they know where you're at, but some schools may even make you completely start over so you can follow their program. And trust me, I know someone that had to go through this, and it cost them a lot. Changing planes. Move from a 172 to another 172, and there probably isn't going to be much of a learning curve. You'll just need a little time in the cockpit if the equipment's different, like the radios or something. But move to something with a complicated full glass panel, and it could take you hours of flights and additional training to get the hang of it. The same thing is true if you switch to a completely different aircraft. You'll have to learn that plane's flight characteristics, systems, and even more. And heaven forbid it's complex, because that requires even more training before you can even get back to the regular training that you needed to get your private pilot license. And you get the idea of it. It costs more money. Expensive aircraft. I once talked to a wannabe pilot, and he told me that he wouldn't train in any aircraft unless it was nearly new and had a full glass panel. Cool, that's a quick way to burn through some cash. It's no surprise that newer, faster, nicer, and better equipped aircraft cost more money to fly, and choosing something like a Cirrus SR-22 to do your flight training in can easily double the cost of your private pilot license. Infrequent flight training. To get good at something, you have to practice. Take a break from it, and you lose some of your skill. Flying is no different. The average student pilot takes 60 to 70 hours to get their license. If you train less frequently, it's gonna take you longer. Like if you only fly once a week, it could take you over 100 hours to complete. Fly every other week, and you know what, let's not even calculate that. But the longer you stretch it out, the more it's going to cost in the end. Expensive areas. Depending on where you live, flying could be cheap or really expensive. Like if you learn to fly in Southern California, it could cost you substantially more than if you learn to fly on a grass strip in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, even if you fly the same plane. Rates are just different in different areas because cost of operating, maintaining, and storage of aircraft changes so much. Flight schools. So some flight schools mislead students, luring them in with seemingly great rates. In the end, students find out that those rates were quoted off the FAA's minimum hours, and not the average hours it usually takes, which leads the student to spending more money and realizing that they're average. But then there are schools that are just plain expensive, who charge more because of their prestige or better training. Just realize that in the end, we all take the same test and pass a check ride, no matter what path we take to get there. Not taking charge. Oddly enough, a lot of student pilots blindly trust a CFI or flight school to guide them along their journey to becoming a pilot. Flying is so fun, so why bother with the details, right? Well, not knowing the requirements, tracking what you're doing, and coordinating with your CFI can lead you to retaking lessons, going on pointless flights, and really stretch out your training, which is a great way to get milked for your money. Not being prepared. So learning to fly isn't all about the flying. Oh, no one told you that? For every hour you fly, there's hours of study to prepare you for the written and oral test portion of your check ride. When you show up to a lesson without being prepared, your instructor has to take additional time to teach you before you can hit the skies, if you even have time to hit the skies after all that learning. But do this a lot, and you may have to find a new instructor too, which we've already gone over. And a quick disclaimer. Alright guys, let's get real for just a minute. All these things do increase the overall cost of your license, but sometimes you may need to change a plane, find a new instructor, or are stuck flying out of a busy airport. And that's okay. Even though Deer Valley Airport was a busy place for me to train, it taught me incredible radio skills. Point is, sometimes you have to do what's best for you, even if it's going to cost you. Except for the expensive airplane stuff, that's a choice. But hey, if you want to spend $30,000 on a private pilot license, go right ahead. Alright, those are some great ways to spend more money on your training than you needed to. Now, I didn't get in the ways to save money because we have a lot of videos on how to do that. I'll leave the ones that you should watch down in the description, so make sure to check those out if you'd rather keep some money in your pocket after you get your license. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing to see what we're doing next. Also, make sure to head on over to our channel page to see some other amazing aviation content. And last, it's no secret that flying is expensive, so please consider supporting us through Patreon or just buying us a coffee so we can keep making great content like this video. Links for both are down in the description. As always, share aviation wherever you can, and we'll see you in the next one.